Okay, everybody, welcome back. Last time we left off, we were at camp. People were doing some sword training, and stories were being told. In particular, I think we'll start off with where Gunnulf and Wolf were, as Wolf was regaling Gunnulf with a bit of a tale. It asked about some of his more recent hunts. And Wolf has sort of proudly, leans back. He's a bit proud of it, but and it kind of brandishes, shows off the two large axes that he's got. The ones that are like made of bone that are sort of laced with that almost like chromatic, almost like veins in it, almost as though like the bones had been like broken and then mended with this almost sort of fused chromatic essence to it, like a crystal or a growth or something. But as he sort of leans back over the fire, he kind of tries to set the stage.
Well, it started like many other hunts. There was stress in the woods. Beasts go silent. Marrowwood scarred and bleeding. So I tracked down the monsters. They were a pack of flesh beasts, feathered and clawed, but no beaks like birds. Just jaws of many teeth and large talons on their feet, like scythes. They had many eyes. Curiosity was within them, and they stalked. This is great music for this.
Yeah. I mean, you're welcome to tell me what playlist to pull from. You know what the story's about.
The other one was good.
Forever.
The other one was good.
Peaceful nighttime music.
There we go. It's fine. I just like that he's building a horror story, and it's very bright.
Yeah.
It's okay.
They stalked and tried to ambush me, but I saw through their ploys. One by one, I broke them against the ground, shattering their forms and freeing the primal spirits trapped within their bodies. But the final one did not fight. It ran. It could not escape me, but I do not think it meant to. Curiosity is a playful thing. Little pup. It knows many games, and I think it sought to catch me. I ran down the flesh beast in front of an old sore, an opening into the atria that is under the sanguine heart. It was clear that it had come from there. Many tracks. So I went in. Yes, I do not fear these things. I saw many things in there. Strange creatures from a time long ago. They are trapped in an ancient sap. They are long dead, but stuck in time. Usir says that they are from the time before when Tiamat fell and the world was bathed in color. The forest was wounded by the falling star, but also bursting with power. Many ancient beasts did not escape the forest's wounds. Is it bled and it healed, so they became trapped, body and spirit. Or so he says. All I know is that such ancient spirits are to be left at rest. But curiosity is always breaking rules and looking where its eyes are not welcome. Unlike us, you see. But it was there, in the atria, that I first faced the behemoths. I fought through many abominations. One had a face of bone as wide as a great marrowwood, with horns of bone like spears that came from its face. Another had a back of bone like like armor, yes, like what you wear, but a great mace on its tail, and it swung it hard enough to shatter the amber. I slayed them. I tore them apart, and once I was ambushed by the behemoth, and he kind of pats the bones, the axes. It was a great predator, clearly a king of its time. It had jaws big enough to cleave me in two, and it had all the strange magic, the elements within it. Our battle, it lasted many hours, and for a time I thought it might get the best of me. Curiosity had chosen a mighty champion to try to break me. But curiosity is predictable. It cannot help but to try and try and try. So, I was not bested in that moment, but in such a small space, the great jaws and the magic that the behemoth had, it was winning. So I retreated from the Atria. I went back to the woods. I was faster and smaller. For all its eyes, curiosity is easily distracted. A wise hunter can hide from it. So I attacked it from behind the trees. I sprung from the veiny growths, and I dropped upon it from the crown of the Merrill Woods. It may have ruled those woods in times past, but I am the chief hunter now. It took all of my strength, little pup, but in the end, I broke the behemoth upon the blood in the bone of the forest floor. And then I did as I should. I communed with its spirit, and I sought to finally set it free back into the cycle. But the behemoth felt differently. It saw honor in my cause and pledged itself to join me in keeping its ancient home safe from the curse, from curiosity that had desecrated its body. And so it is. Its body and spirit now aid me in battle, as it should be. We both work together to keep the woods safe. Yes, that is my story. I hope you have learned much, little pup.
It's incredible. Oh gosh, it's an amazing tale. I haven't heard anything quite like it. You could, gosh, your tales of your exploits could go down in history if only people knew.
And he goes, they do know. Back in the Heartwood, they know of my deeds. I will be remembered, yes.
Kestrel has obviously probably been listening to this a little bit as well, and is very obviously proud and enraptured with her brother's story. She kind of disengages from the fight a little bit, and she says, "Oh yes, Wolf is well known within the Grove. The greatest hunter. His story shall go down in our oral history, just the same as the legends of old, like Dracus himself."
He nods. He does not even disagree.
I think sometimes, and I'm just filleting him at this point, sorry. I think Wolf should have been born Dracus himself.
And he kind of, I don't know, he kind of puts his hands up a little bit and he goes,
Such an honor is not for us to decide, sister. You know this. Usir says, as much as we may think we know the truth, it is for Dracus to decide.
Yes, but there have not been any others stronger than you, or more brave, or proud, and fierce in his hunt. So I disagree. And I cross my arms and I just kind of, I look at him like, like I know what's best.
And he, in his own complicated way, that is both subtle and transparent, just seems to sort of struggle with your words and goes, I do not disagree, but Usir says that it is not our place, so he would know best.
kind of looked to Steve also, because I had mentioned Dracus to him at one point during our first sword fighting as one of our old heroes, and I said, "Do you remember when we first started to train me, and you told me how you were an old wise hero from your time, and
Super
I
old.
mentioned
Ancient.
ancient hero,
A husk of a
yes,
man.
an ancient hero from the land which you hail. Dracus is also Dracus is many. He is an ancient figure. And I think I told you I would tell you the story also. I don't have to now, but I could.
Well, let's see. Can you tell me the story and finish your forms? Or should we wait until you're done?
I don't think I can tell it while swinging. Requires a lot of focus to tell the story.
I think
You're right, don't you?
this is a good opportunity for discipline.
What?
Let's finish the forms because you want so bad to tell the story. Use that as incentive, finish up strong, and then we'll do the story, and that will be the reward.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, sounds good. I shall tell you all about the great hero Dracus.
Cool.
And then we go through our forms probably. And I'm fucking, I'm ready. Let's go.
So, and it's funny because this was all just for character building, because in reality she's already done all the forms. Where we got last week, she finished, she progressed in the sword fighting, so now we can actually dive into it.
Let's skip. We skip ahead.
We just
dude.
fast
It's like it
forward.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
Do you have this written down, or is this one that I should take notes?
I have it written down.
Heck
But I may
yeah.
not copy. I may not read verbatim what I wrote.
Okay.
Just
send it to me after, but this way I can just listen.
Yeah. So, kind of maybe panting, exhausted, a little sweaty. I deposit the wooden sword on the ground next to where maybe some of my things are kept, and probably closer to Wolf. And I take a what?
Do you want to catch your breath first, or?
And I just go, it's okay. I'll take a seat and I'll be all right. And she kind of, I don't know, is there like logs surrounding like the campfire or something?
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe, why not? Yeah.
Sure. I take a seat on one of the logs surrounding the campfire, probably next to my brother. And I ask, so how much do you know about how druids work?
You're asking me?
In
general?
Does anyone know? Do I need to explain it, or?
I think you should explain it, because we have druids where I'm from, but the way they work could be completely different than here. So I think it's best to just dive in.
Oh,
You have druids where you come from.
We do. Yes. The rudimentary way to describe them would be nature mages. Magic users very in tune with nature. Some able to shapeshift. Others able to manipulate plant life. It's a wide spectrum, but that's how we mostly characterize it. And Jason's like, that's not true, actually. That's what Steve thinks. At least.
That's pretty. I think that's pretty
Okay,
accurate,
all right.
Steve.
all right.
Yeah, look, druids cover a wide variety of things
Yeah.
in D&D on purpose. So yeah.
Screw D&D. We're not in D&D.
That's true.
So Wolf is sort of like,
They do not have groves, then trees, great woods to bind themselves with.
I mean, they maybe do. I think you tell me how you characterize it, and that will help fill in some gaps.
Well, I go. I was telling about it.
You are the better storyteller, Kestrel.
Oh.
Good.
Thank you. And she says, so, to understand what a druid is, you have to understand that the world is a god, in a way. It is its own entity, a thing that feeds life and magic into all things. A long time ago, before the gods were even born, there was no god of war, no god of beauty, no god of anything. There was only the earth and the animals and everything that lived within it. And in that time, trees, the great things that channeled the magic from these places of power, the planes that connect to the elemental, the magic which surrounds Chroma, that stems from when Tiamat, the comet, Wolf mentioned it during his story, when Tiamat fell, it imbued our world with power and magic. And that is what the druids protect, is these fonts of magic and life that give birth to all living things here on Chroma. Everything is born of Chroma, Holy Chroma itself. So then, as time went on, many beings came. The dragons were the first. They were intelligent and could weave words together and had thoughts more complex than the animals surrounding them. And from there, the gods were born. And the gods were jealous of the dragons, the true children of Chroma, and they created peoples of their own. The, god of war, which knew war only because the dragons were warlike, created a warlike people. And they raised, what did we agree upon, Jason? What was the warlike people? Was it the lions? I think it was the lion folk.
I think that's technically tyrants, but yes, it's something close to that.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so the lion folk or the god of feasts, because the dragons ate and they ate mightily. That one chose the vultures, and so on and so forth until you had many folk on Chroma. And those folk, well, they were not truly one with their spirits anymore. They bound themselves to these places of power to reconnect with their true nature, to be as they were meant to be before these gods of thought and concept decided to mingle and meddle with the true god of our world. These were not the truest druids, but more time went on, and then the demons came. And from the demons became humans, and humans, well, they do not belong to this earth at all. They don't belong to anywhere. They came from a place of concept themselves, alien and unknown to how Chroma was built, to the world that it birthed, and people like me, humans like me, who wished to become part of Chroma, they chose to bind themselves to these forests as well. But in doing so, the only way that a druid, a human, or an elf, or a goblin, or any other humanoid race could become a part of Chroma was to take upon themselves an animal spirit of their own. So, for me, when I was born, the animal that chose me was a kestrel. And for Wolf, the spirit that chose him was a wolf. And Ursir a bear, and my mother a gharial, and so on and so forth. And that is how we became something that belonged to this world. Well, as you might imagine, Dracus, as you understand our names, I am Kestrel, Wolf is Wolf. Dracus is a dragon. Dracus is the mightiest druid, and Dracus chooses a druid every, I don't know, dozens of generations. He chooses one when there is time of conflict, when there is strife, and he chooses a druid who he believes is strong enough to protect the world that we come from, to protect the grove. Dracus's story is long. He was not always a spirit. As you know, the dragons, they are people too. But because Dracus was like the other, animal folk which chose to bind themselves to these groves, when he died, his spirit was contained within. And he was an avid warrior. He was a fighter the world had never seen before. When the Kirin came and they used their weapons from beyond the stars, he was mighty, and he cut them down and prevented them from invading his woods. But one day he fell. And because of that connection, Dracus has vowed to fight forever to protect our woods. And so, it is in my belief that Wolf should have been Dracus. It is in my belief that a fierce hunter like my brother should have been the one. But it is not for now, I suppose. His spirit has been chosen, and...
Then it is a strong spirit, Kestrel. You need not worry for me.
I know your spirit is strong.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe that it is unfair. Because do we not now live in a time of strife, my brother? Do we not now have the most dire conflict that our generation has ever seen upon us? Why does he not come now? Why does he not choose a soul to imbue with his power?
When was the last time he chose again?
And she thinks back, she says, I believe that Dracus arose at the beginning of the curse, but he was cut down quite quickly. There was... And she thinks, she says, Ursir says that in the beginning, when Dracus chose a servant, that he fought vigorously against the flesh beasts which infested our land, but the Kirin are very powerful, and the fire rained from the sky, and it annihilated everything from here, not from here, but from the edge of the heartwood and to the very heart, the sanguine heart itself. Eradicated all of the flesh beasts and Dracus and all of his warriors then too. And he has yet to choose another one.
How many times has he chosen a new warrior, champion?
Many. I think maybe 6 at this point. But I might be misremembering. It has been a long time since I have heard Ursir tell me the story.
Is it unusual? Has it been an unusual amount of time since he had chosen the last one? Since he fell previously?
I do not think it is an unusual amount of time. The curse has been upon our lands for, it is hard to quantify time, but I think years, many generations. I believe that Dracus was alive during the time of my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, but
I tried to do
that's
the same thing.
doing that.
So, should we be concerned that the last time he fell, it was in a different manner than previous, and that's what's preventing him from re-emerging with a new champion, or
Her eyes go wide, and like that's the first time she's thought of it. She's like, I don't know. Oh, curiosity was present when he fell. He fell fighting in and she's.
I am
she's-
sure it is fine. Dracus chooses the strongest warriors, and if he is looking for one stronger than even I, then it makes sense. He has yet to return, for there are none stronger than I amongst the grove.
But
So-
in that case, but you are the strongest, yes, and we are in a time of strife, and Dracus should be here. So why isn't he?
Perhaps he has seen that there will be one stronger than me that has yet to be born. We do not know. It is not for us to question, Lucir says.
is Dracus, does he make his, is it a concern of his that by the time he chooses a new champion, there might not be anything left to fight for?
I would like to think that Dracus is very concerned about the plight of the woods.
You are concerning her. There is
Shut up,
nothing to worry
Steve.
about. I have made the grove is protected. I have made sure of that. If more than my strength was needed, then surely he would come back. But that is not the time that we live in. No, if anything, curiosity has been quiet as of late. That is unlike it, yes, and even I suspect it is up to something, as is nature. It always looks, yes, but I do not know why it would. Dracus does not need to be here.
Well,
I have.
you say quiet, I say calm before the storm is what it's feeling like. I'm not trying to be alarmist. I apologize. I'm sure your hero is great. I just, as an outsider hearing these stories, I just, it makes me think, and maybe I have a different perspective on things. For example, this Kirin Empire, everybody keeps saying we're living in relative peace and harmony with them, but everything I hear does not really support that. You just said they were like raining fire down. They seem like an oppressive, tyrannical force in this world. Is that just me? You're all here. You tell me if I'm barking up the wrong tree.
She's like, they didn't do it to kill us, but and she doesn't have anything nice to say about them. So
I have no love for these Kirin that rain fire from the skies, but I understand their fear of the things that crawl within the flesh woods. I do not begrudge them. They are not strong like us. Strong not of just body, but of mind. They fear it because it would corrupt them and twist them. They are weak. Weak things should fear the strong. It is only natural.
Well, and
this is true.
Gunnulf, I'm curious, in the beginning, what Kestrel was talking about with the spirits choosing, making that choice, is that consistent with what you've heard and your understanding of the world and the Grove, limited as that knowledge may be?
I'm sorry, what the question? Like, you were asking.
So I was just asking.
This is good. Like,
yeah, like Gunnulf, like is the beginning of Kestrel's story about like Kestrel chose her as the spirit, and then a wolf chose wolf, and like is that because Steve is, that's our dog howling. And he's trying to figure out, like, in this mythology, how much of it is like mythology and how much of it is actual what happened, and then also how much of it you know one way or the other, if that makes sense.
I mean, frankly, the peace folk and everybody outside, they don't hear much we don't hear much about the beast folk. So as
Well,
far as
You are beast folk. Do you mean like the druids?
yes,
You don't hear much- yeah.
we don't hear much about the druids.
Okay.
So
Okay, interesting. Well, I
Mhm.
don't mean to make you nervous, Kestrel. I appreciate you telling that story. I love learning about this world and all the different things that shape it. So thank you for telling me.
Okay.
Don't let
She's
my
nervous.
ignorance make you anxious.
Okay, I'll try not to be. But maybe somebody should reach out and try to contact Dracus's spirit. I admit I am not maybe strong enough to do so, and would Dracus respond to me of all of the people? But maybe Ursir would be able to reach out. He would answer him. Storykeeper of the Grove is the highest honor.
I agree. Perhaps when I go back, I will consult with Usir about this. If you all speak of curiosity out here, of it causing problems, yes.
even on the deity level, yes.
This is something that we do not know of. We do not have. We do not honor the gods as you do outside here. So we were not aware of this. We did not see this. I will consult with Usir and suggest that we reach out to the spirits, Dracus included. If that will make you feel better, Kestrel.
It will make me feel very better, yes. And she kind of glazes over the fact that he's going back.
So, last question. Sorry. Does Dracus typically choose a champion at the height of their power, or does he choose a newborn to grow into this new champion?
Her lips tilt and she thinks. She kind of shakes her head back and forth. She says, when a druid's spirit is particularly strong, it's easy to tell. Dracus will sometimes choose a newborn, but Dracus has also possessed the bodies of already druids that are powerful, and has joined with them a second spirit to pair with the one already inside of them. Leonel, the great warrior, back when, oh goodness, it was after the demonic invasion, and the Kirin were not particularly happy with the demons which had effectively chosen to reside on Chroma. Well, Leonel was chosen at that time to defend the grove because so many had fled there. Dracus chose him at the height of his power. And it was, you should have seen, well, I didn't see it, but I could imagine it in my mind really well. And like a great dragon with, a furry mane and claws that retracted, and gigantic canines, and and his fire breath, it scorched the skies. I wish I could have been there to see it.
Usir tells the story quite well, yes.
So, Dracus could still choose Wolf.
Oh,
Right?
he could.
And
It's
I'm
true,
partially
I
saying this just to
suppose.
help Kestrel feel better. Oh, it could happen any day now. Or he could choose Albus, perhaps. Or even me.
No.
Who knows?
No, Dracus would not choose an outsider.
You
I
never
would
know.
dis-
The desperate times.
I disagree.
One must be bound to the tree, the grove, the same way that me and Kestrel are. I mean no offense. I am sure you are a great warrior where you come from, but it is different. You would not understand.
No, but I'm sure you're probably right. Just because something's been done one way all of history doesn't mean it always has to be done that way, right?
I think you just want to be a dragon.
I would not throw it away. No, certainly not.
And you are wise.
Well, anyway, that is our great hero. Does it live up to perhaps the great heroes of where do you come from again?
Yeah, it certainly does. I don't know a lot of our ancient heroes. The party that I traveled with, it's kind of a recency thing. So, mythology really evolves and grows over time, and we haven't had that yet. So, maybe one day in the future there will be great ballads and epic poems about our exploits. But to be honest with you, it'll focus on my companions. I was but support to that great journey. Kind of a footnote that might be included. But still an honor and a privilege for me to join that great party.
Ursir says that it is not always the most important thing to be in the title of the music, but to have a verse in the song. So
I like that. I would like to meet this Ursir.
perhaps you will. I hope that it does not come to that. It may be very dangerous getting there. I will be fine to go back on my own, of course, when that time comes, but I worry for you, and Rosalind especially.
It sounds dangerous. And yet, the more we learn every day, signs keep pointing to us somehow ending up there. What do I know? It's feeling that way that our eventual path is going to take us to the Grove.
Okay, well...
Hey, better hope not, because you'll die.
Together, right? Yeah. That's true. We could all go together, right, Wolf? We could go together, like a whole team.
Gives you a pat on the back.
Yeah.
Gives me a pat on the back or Kestrel?
No, Kestrel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sort of a sure, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess with that we can head to bed if everybody is tired. We have a long day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Good food, good stories. This has been good.
And good trading. And I'm gonna go hit the sack.
Nice.
Okay. Anybody else want to do anything before we officially wrap up the night?
Does Sharp have a story she wants to tell?
No.
Sharp could tell a story to Wolf.
Found some rocks one time by the river that I live near.
Whoa.
Oh.
No, it's
Wow.
That's a good story.
What kind of rocks?
Big one.
Really magical.
Sharp would know, but
Yeah.
Maisie does not know rocks.
You could actually tell, not to say, but you could tell the story of when you traveled with Wagner and Neravine, and you guys went and the one shot. Essentially, you could describe
Yeah.
the one shot.
Sure.
I don't know if that's something you want to do at some point, but
You could tell that
talk about
story, and then
having
Roz will
stories.
wonder why you didn't tell it when she asked you about it before.
Then no.
No, tell it. Just tell it.
No! God! Not about
Easy
to
needs to refresh on the
fucking
material
make people
first,
hate
and then
Sharp more. Nah, she'll just daydream like she always does.
Cool. That's a
Don't
lot
you
better
know?
for the character than sharing the story.
I agree.
Okay. Well, with that, everybody gets to bed. I don't know. Pleasant ish dreams for everybody. Okay. And with that, you all wake up the next morning.
Oh,
Thank
phew.
God.
Yay!
Wolf
gotta
is
add a
gone.
Wolf, no!
Oh,
This
dang.
mysterious note left by the campfire.
Wolf is still there.
Don't make me cry on camera again.
He has woken up earlier than I think probably most of you have, and he is he's sort of walked. He's kind of at the perimeter of the campsite. You can tell that he's sort of keeping an eye on the horizon and everything else like that. But whoever wakes up first, you guys see that he's there, and he'll give it's a good day. It is a good day. He seems sort of, he's up and about. Probably doesn't do a lot of like lazy Sunday sleeping. This guy.
Who does wake up first, aside from Sharp, who's already awake? It's definitely not Steve. Steve is maybe the last to wake up. Is
If we're
it?
talking real life,
Is it Albus? I could see Gunolf actually being an early riser.
mhm.
Sharp, do you say anything? Wolf does very little sleeping. Do you have a conversation with him at all throughout the night? There's
this would be
certainly
a good
plenty of
time.
opportunity. It'd basically just be you and him at some point.
You should tell Wolf the story. That's a good story.
Sure, I'll tell Wolf the story.
You'll tell Wolf the story. Okay.
Yeah. And being even more secretive and backstabby to my team.
Only
Okay.
if someone finds out.
What's the give me the gist. How do you and like for those who may be listening, all like 3 people that were not there for the one shot, do you want to give a brief example, a summary of kind of what happened? Walk me and Wolf through the steps a little bit, or
Sharp
Well-
remembers.
Shut up. I'm just kidding. Well, first, I think Sharp would realize that Wolf isn't sleeping a lot, drum up, normal conversation, and then talk about, I have a kind of a story. And she would not mention who she was with. I think she'd be very vague about that, except for Gunolf's relative, because that's already been established.
okay.
So she'd be like, all right, so let's see what I remember.
And he is a little like when you try to strike up a conversation with him, he definitely seems a little hesitant of how to interact with you.
Oh.
But when you mention that you've got like a tale that you could tell about, I don't know how you phrase it, but if you say like a hunt or a battle or something, he does take interest, and he says, I would like to hear this tale, something like that.
Okay.
And then he seems to be more invested once you've sort of approached him at a level he kind of gets.
Yeah, okay. No, that's good. I definitely don't want to, trap him into talking to a ghost lady. So,
He almost seems, you get the feeling the level of interactions he has with anchorites is very small or not positive. So he
Yeah.
seems very unsure of how to have a conversation with you. But when you start speaking or having a conversation in a way that is very him, he seems to relax in a little bit.
okay.
So,
Can I ask a quick question? Because you're about to, it matters because of the story you're about to tell.
Oh.
Is there a reason why you're not using details and you're not telling Rosalind? Aside from the fact that you failed to mention it before because you probably... But, is there a reason you are keeping it secret, actually,
No.
as Sharp?
No.
So,
I'm just really stupid.
you
I don't
just
remember
forgot
this
to...
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
But
So
it's gonna
maybe-
bite me in the ass, so I'm
Well,
not
just-
gonna... I don't want to fucking deal with that shit, dude. No.
This is character. Why she doesn't mention it.
Yeah.
It's like-
Yeah, the character's, oh shit, I forgot. Well, now I can't say anything, so...
Well, or it's like, okay, I'll just have to bring it up later,
Yeah.
but
okay.
knowing
Okay.
Roz, she's probably also not sleeping, so I'm not gonna fucking...
One eye open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she misses conversations all the time because she's sleeping, so it's fine.
Mhm.
All right, we'll go. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, that's why. It's not because she's trying to be secretive. It's literally because she's me and I have the worst memory of anybody.
Okay.
It's okay. It is occasionally known for anchorites to sometimes lose track of memories and feelings and parts of themselves, especially when they've been living a very long time. So
Nice. Yeah, there you
some
go.
of it.
Love it. So, I don't remember.
Well, you did as good as you
Started on
could.
the train.
All I remember is we were in like
We
a
were fighting the
cave.
flesh currents.
There was a doctor, and I succeeded at a clock. And that's
I mean, that did happen.
All of that is true. This is true.
This anchorite had a body all of a sudden.
You did?
That's one thing. Yes, we were fighting the flesh curse, and he was experimenting upon himself and giving himself.
The doctor
flesh
did.
bits. Yes,
The doctor guy did.
if you recall.
I don't recall.
So we should
Fuck.
do really quick. We should have Jason do a quick synopsis.
Yes.
And then Maisie can be like, "Oh yeah, I remember this, that, or the other thing." Because otherwise, we're gonna be here all night.
Oh, I'm not going to remember
Let's,
any of it. So Jason's going to talk on my behalf, and then we'll move on.
Oh, okay. Well, let's hope I can remember all of it.
Well-
All of you guys had been brought there on a rather clandestine mission on behalf of the group known as the Rising Tide. You arrived in the small town of... Oh no. Hold on. I gotta
Oh,
remember.
God.
Sparkston, I think. No. Yes.
It is
Sparkston. I'm remembering this correctly. When you arrived there, basically everybody was gone and missing. And what evidence was there led to the local mine being where everyone had been brought to. And when you basically went into the mine, you guys bumped into some flesh creatures that were like flying eyeballs, essentially. They were
yeah.
like eyes with wings and
Uh-huh.
shit like that. You guys beat them up. You also bumped into some necrotech automatons that were attempting to defend the mine, and you also fought through those.
Wait, and I'm sorry,
And
time out really quick. Who was, when you say, like you guys, it was Sharp, it was Naravine, Rosalind's sister.
Which was bleeped out.
Which Maisie's bleeping out.
Beep!
Some like human lady.
No, she would literally just be like a group of us. Which included Gunnolf's relative. And I wouldn't be like a
And
female
Wagner.
person who I don't remember
I know,
exactly.
but I'm kind of doing it for like Jason. Anybody who's listening, they don't know about the one shot.
Oh.
It was Wagner. It was Peter was a little
Sorry.
Dracarius.
Dacarius was your character.
Oh shit.
There was a Drake Knight, so there was a Drake Knight, Certicarius. There was a Kobold War veteran.
That's what Peter was.
Robin.
Yep,
Peter
yep,
was like a lizard, right?
Yep. Yeah. Don't tell them
Uh,
that, but yeah.
He's a lizard person.
There was
In a mech suit.
Yeah.
in a mech suit. Mm-hmm. He had a big old mech suit with a drill. There was a smaller kobold with a little hornet, little fire hornet. That was kind of helping. A little guide, a little tracker. There was Wagner, who I've forgotten.
Naravine, but
yeah. Wagner, Sharp, Naravine, Grelbin,
Nestle.
Nestle. I was gonna say Neville. It's
Yeah.
not right.
It's
Nestle.
Yep. That's Michaela.
And Certicarius.
Nice.
Sir Dacarius.
Great. Okay. So then
A
we
group
fought
of
the automatons, and then what else?
You'd fought a group of automatons. You eventually got in there, and I believe you met with another one of the scientists. Am I remembering this correctly? And the scientist explained to you that that Staffenford, the lead researcher, had gone off his rocker. They were attempting to build weapons to fight the Flesh Curse, but Staffenford's desire to understand the Flesh Curse and how to defeat it and build a new necrotech weapon against it did not work out so well. He seemed to Staffenford was an anchorite, like the doctor that you guys were talking to. I believe they were both anchorites. But in their research, Staffenford went a little crazy. And by the time you guys stumbled into Staffenford's laboratory, he basically was working on this big mechanized necrotech thing.
It was like a child.
Like it was like talking to him. It had like an eye kind of in it, and it was trying to like ask him questions and get him to do things. And he himself had sort of a fleshy body on the inside of his suit. And then you guys beat the living shit out of all of them, basically. And he had, and then you guys rigged the place to explode and trapped them in there because he was going to start infecting that area. But then blew everything up and destroyed the laboratory, kept the flesh curse from expanding or escaping, and got out. But not before Wagner learned that the reason he had gone there was because his daughter had been sent to this research facility, but Staffenford had rejected her and sent her elsewhere, which is then what led to some other adventures down the line looking for Scotty,
Gunnar's
Wagner's
mom.
Yes.
Wagner's daughter. So that happened afterwards, but yes, you guys managed to defeat Dr. Staffenford.
So doesn't Gunnulf know that, like, of this whole adventure with Wagner and Neravine and everybody?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
so it's not some, like, huge
basically.
secret then.
Oh, yeah, so it's not totally my fault. So Gunnulf's also to blame for
Yeah, it's all for
Rosalind
Gunnulf's
not,
fault. Yeah, that's-
not trusting us. Yay!
Okay. Okay, cool. So as far as we know, like, we think Staffenford's dead, but he maybe got out or something.
I mean, he was an anchorite and totally busted his suit,
Yeah.
and all his fleshy bits came out.
Ugh.
Yes, fleshy bits came out, and they weren't working so well. It almost seemed like his attempt to make himself a body was not working. So
Yeah, so anyway, there you go. There you go, Wolf. Now talk again, Jason.
Talk to yourself.
yeah, and Wolf listens, and he goes,
I see. It sounds like this doctor, it befriended curiosity. This is never good. Never a good thing. This creature he made. It is good that you burned them out. They should not be allowed to exist.
Mm-hmm.
You should be proud of yourself for doing this.
It was an interesting time, but it was a good bonding experience with the team, and yeah, we're happy that we succeeded as far as we're aware. So,
Especially with Neravine. Me and Neravine became best friends. I love to think, sorry I keep interjecting, but like, you know, like in Severance, how like the brains are like bleeding together and they're like,
yeah.
I imagine sometimes you see fucking Rosalind and it's like the time is bleeding with like you and Neravine and you're like, oh yeah, we've always been together, and like you're just like confused a little bit at times. It's pretty cool. You're going crazy and I like that a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
good news, Maisie.
Oh, right. That wasn't Rosalind that was there. That's right. It was Neravine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tomorrow
yeah.
I'm like, what's up, Neravine?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
it won't cause any trauma whatsoever.
No.
Yeah.
Cool.
I haven't seen Severance.
Oh, you gotta.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. It's good.
Okay,
and
we're not
that
doing
is-
the cut. We're not
We'll
doing
Now
We'll talk
have
about
to,
it later.
We'll have to bleep this, or else
that
YouTube will
is
sue
not a
us.
spoiler. That is like the crux of the show, episode 1. So that's, you're not losing anything here.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so fucking good. Holy shit.
All right. So cool.
So, okay. So next morning rolls around. Everyone is up.
Good morning,
stories have
Neravine.
been Told. Ah.
She doesn't do that. I'm just being stupid.
Hope you're ready to roll for initiative first thing in the morning.
Everyone wakes up.
Yeah.
what's everyone do for the morning? Are you guys doing breakfast? Are you setting out for the road immediately? What's your vibe? Where are you guys at?
Yeah, I think if I remember right, we had to set out pretty quickly just because it was going to take a near full day of travel to get to Don Laika. Not that we can't do something in the morning, just that it was like, probably can't dilly-dally as much as yesterday, basically.
Yeah, I'd probably do like light breakfast, and then be ready to go. Like an egg.
No
like
coffee this morning.
Yeah, no coffee. Well, you probably do quick coffee. Quick, but not like the doctored up coffee.
Yeah, don't be crazy.
Yeah.
There's coffee. There's always time for coffee. Yeah.
We have
Okay,
a
my
Keurig.
bad. What am I
Quick
talking
coffee,
about?
1 boiled egg, salted, and let's go.
Yeah.
And some stale bread.
Got places to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kestrel's pumped. She's like, "Ooh, what are we gonna see when we get to Don Laika? I've only ever seen really like Lighthaven and Roulette, and it should be really cool. Gunnulf, what's your place like? What's this town?" And she's just putting her things together and getting all ready to go. And she's like, I don't know, like anime style bread in the mouth or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don Laika is a place that's with Lighthaven and Roulette. You couldn't really see the sky that well. There were so many either tall buildings or we were underground or anything. No, this place is a place that has small buildings and an expansive sky because we need to use all of nature's beauty and all of that to make sure that the plants that we grow are healthy and hardy, and therefore we need to make sure that we can't be industrial like Lighthaven. We need to be a little bit more with nature.
Kestrel sighs kind of longingly and she says, "Oh, I do miss the sky. It's been so long since I've flown freely. I can't even remember the last time I really did." She's like, "I look forward to seeing this," and she's getting in the cart.
Doug, have I seen Don Lincoln with you? Have we gone through there at any point?
I feel like that's where you came.
I agree. I think you showed up. Either way, I think we're in Don Laika at one point because I think you
Cool.
were there for whenever you guys picked up
Yeah, you were
Albert
there
and Don
for
Laika.
Scotty's grave. And all
Yeah.
that.
So,
Yeah.
Gunnulf, return to where it all kind of all started.
It seems like not a long time ago, but also in an eternity ago.
Truly. Lifetime. Yep. I'm excited to get back there, though. It is a nice town. Look, this world has many wonders, but there's something special about this town. I appreciate it for what it does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Be great to go home and really, we got to make sure people there, with how religious that everybody there is, we need to make sure that they that they're safe too. So,
Yep. All right. Well,
I mean, I hate to go there and be all business because this is my home, but also we got to make sure that we keep people safe.
well said. Let's get a move on.
Okay. So you guys all hop in the back of the cart. You set off for the road. Is there anything that anyone wants to do while on the road? Anything that anyone wants to look out for, or like keep an eye on, or work on for those of you that aren't like driving, things like that?
I'm learning to read with with Rosalind. I'm just gonna bother her. I don't know if she's doing anything right now, but she's doing something.
She's not doing something now. She's helping me read.
Yeah, I just plopped down next to her, and I don't know if she's got more notes for me or whatever, but I'm ready to get them.
She does. She prepared them last night.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, more notes," and she's like, "What do you have this time?"
God, I made notes, but it was basically like an A to Z that involved people that Kestrel knew. There was a couple places because there were not enough people with first letters from the alphabet, and there was no Q or Z because I don't.
I remember this.
There was a Z at some point in the
Sorry?
notes. I remember as I was looking through them and preparing that, but it was like something that Kestrel had never experienced, so it didn't help. Like,
Oh.
Oh.
I'd have to find it
Well.
again, but anyways.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what it would have been. But yeah, so yeah, you've got some notes. And Rosalind takes you through them. I think that's. Do you want to make another roll on your
Yeah,
reading check
roll
here?
me, roll me.
A is for Albus.
A is for Albus. Oh. What's B?
Bishop.
Okay. Bishop. Yes. Oh, yes, like Rachel.
Yes. Dr. Bishop.
I don't really think of her as. I don't think of her as Dr. Bishop. So, what am I rolling again?
It's insight. Insight?
Insight. Okay. I press the roll button, and C is.
Oh, there you go. Did
probably
really good.
Casimir, I assume.
Is
That's
the what now?
Oh, C is
C
for
would be Casimir.
Yeah.
C is for Kasim.
Casim.
So for everybody, that's a 7 on a D10 and a 3 on a D10
That's +4.
That's a
for a
passing
total
grade.
of 10.
It is +4 because of the notes.
True.
Mhm.
True.
Which is absolutely enough to pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I pick up, I assume I have some sort of pencil and I start tracing the letters to get them right. And I sound out each of the sounds as I'm sort of just tracing them and writing them and trying to internalize the mental connection between, K is kestrel, but K and C are so similar. Kestrel. Casimir? How do I know which one is which?
That's the best part. You don't.
Oh,
Sometimes it sounds like this, and sometimes it sounds like this, and I mean, gosh, it's been so long since I was in school. I don't really remember how I started to distinguish between them, but I guess you just learn by doing it over and over again.
oh, okay. I don't feel like I have that much time, but I'll learn, I guess. And she just keeps going, and eventually she says, I really appreciate you doing all this. I didn't expect you to, but it means a lot.
Well, I think it's going to be useful if you're going to keep traveling, and it seems like you want to. It seems like there's a lot out here that you need to see, and places where we may be able to help, and, it's okay if you get a C and a K mixed up sometimes, because as long as the overall message gets across, people aren't going to tumble over it too much.
Yeah, I think it could be really interesting. I could write down things like Dracus's story, or I could write down Wolf's story of slaying the great behemoth, and I could keep these stories, this history, in perfect condition forever, and take it back to my people. We do everything through oral tradition. That is why the story keeper is the most important role. But this will be very useful, and I thank you. Is this, have you done this before? Taught somebody like this?
Not this directly, but I worked with kids a decent amount.
Oh,
There were days at the orphanage where I wanted to fill in more directly. Sometimes it was more trying to back them behind the scenes, give them supplies and things they needed. But there were times where it was also trying to work with some of the kids, because the desert's harsh, and those kids deserved a better life. So there were times I didn't really teach them anything like school-wise, because they had their own tutors and the like, but there was times I told them about places I'd traveled or adventures I'd been on, stuff like that.
she tilts her head and she's like, what is orphans? I don't really understand.
It's people without parents. Do you have parents in the Grove? It sounds like you've spoken about them in some capacity.
Oh yes, mother and father and my aunt, Markor, and all of they. It is a communal raising. Also, I had many parents, not just my mother and father.
So in New Keslov, it's tough to survive. Even in the city, there's at least some protection. It's not just this wilderness like the desert, but people have a hard time there, especially if they're less well off. And there's a lot of kids there in particular because there's a military component there, so there are people who lose their parents fighting, or because they don't have enough to eat, or because they can't afford a place to get shelter from the hot conditions or the biting winds. And the kids who don't have any parents, those are orphans.
But would they not just go to one of the other parents? Some other older adult could raise them, yes? And take them in as their own?
They don't quite have the same tribe idea that you may in the Grove. There are people who are willing to take folks in. That's what my parents did. I'm not related to my sister by birth, but they took me in because I had nowhere else to go. So there are some who do that, but not everyone's in a position to do that. A lot of people are just trying to get by themselves. They don't have the ability to take on somebody else unexpectedly.
Her brows furrow and she says, "Oh, what happened to your parents, Rosalind? Sorry, I don't mean to upset you by asking, but I'm curious."
My sister and I watched them starve to death. And you get the feeling that there's a blunt tone behind that because the question was asked, but it doesn't sound like she's trying to be mean about it, but in the sense that, like, you've asked and you've earned a measure of trust, so yeah, here's the answer.
But how could they have starved to death? Was there no food? Why was there no food, Rosalind?
There's almost no food out in the desert. I don't know if you've ever been to a place like that, but very little grows. There's almost no water in a lot of places. It's a harsh place that, I mean, to be honest, I don't know why people choose to live there if they have the choice. Many don't, but some people do. Some people are trying to make it a better place, but it's not a place where people should live if they have the option.
Yeah. She shrinks back and she imagines this place, the place with no plant life or nature really of any kind, and she says, "It sounds awful."
It has its benefits, but it's definitely not... Well, there is a certain beauty to it, but it's not scenic. It's not lush and green like out here in the plains. It's it's a place that you either get used to or you run away from as quick as possible.
And you and your sister, they ran away from that as soon as possible?
Well, at one point we were out in the desert and not even in the town, so the town was preferred to any other options we had, especially when we were so young, and our parents gave up everything for us. They gave us an opportunity. They sacrificed everything so that we would survive, and I think that's part of what drove my sister to survive at all costs, and she was always willing to take risks that other people might not have, because I think she just wanted to avoid us ever being in that situation again.
I see. And did you know your parents well?
I only had the chance to spend a couple years with them after they brought me in, so they were very kind to me, especially as someone who was not born in the same family, but I knew them okay. We were close, but again, it's just not enough time. That's why I think I relied so much on Neravine instead, because then we spent the next few years together and only having each other.
So, Neravine was something kind of like a parent too, like Wolf was to me.
It's similar, yeah. That's why when I saw him treating you that way, it was so... Well, I mean...
I understand.
You saw what I did.
Yeah, I understand. We need not argue over that. But okay. Well, thank you for sharing with me, Rosalind.
You're welcome.
It is a sad past that you tell about, though, and well, I do hope that we find your sister.
Me too. And you know what? You're coming along quickly. A lot of people
What?
wouldn't have been able to
With
pick
the-
this up this fast.
Oh, the reading?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Thank you. She's a little, like, proud and maybe a little, I don't know, a little cocky about it, too. She's like, you know, my brother always told me I was too smart for my own good.
You are quite
Hear
smart.
This conversation.
Yeah, can you? Can you?
He throws a little. It's because you are.
Oh,
Now, before you go getting too big for your britches, that B is backwards. So I know that's been a trouble
she's like,
spot before. You're getting a lot better at it, but that's one you got to keep an eye out for.
immediate blush. Then she's like, right, and then she goes and erases it, and then tries to rewrite it.
Hmm.
She's like, I'll get there, you know, but thank you. And then she just keeps going. She puts her head down.
Okay.
Cool.
So I think Sharp is usually driving.
Yeah, she
Or-
was gonna be up front, at least with whoever else. I feel like it was usually Gunoff.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Gunoff and I, and possibly Wolf, are chilling up front. And also, I want to clear my name. I just remembered, in all of this conversation, it has been 100% relayed that Sharp was with Neravine, and Rosalind knows that. It's just Sharp doesn't know what the fuck happened after that trip, so I just want to clear my name. Sharp is not in trouble, and I didn't fuck anything up.
But I like the version where Sharp is crazy.
I mean, she's probably crazy,
Ew.
but I'm just clearing my name
And
so
she
that when
progressively stays in her like ghostly form, it slowly corrupts her mind almost. The longer she stays in that form, I think that's kind of a cool narrative.
probably,
Yeah, so keep doing that.
but
But yeah.
100% not in trouble. I'm not holding any fucking thing back anymore. Shit. Fuck.
Well, and I think, well, and once we knew, like, oh, Gunoff knows about it too, then we're
Yeah.
like, okay,
So
we're fine.
sorry. Clearing my name.
There is a whole time period where Neravine broke off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and that's what we don't
you
know.
guys are not aware.
Yeah.
Now, your time with Neravine in the Rising Tide would be new information to Rosalind, unless you've shared that.
No, I thought I did.
specifically.
No, that was a very brief conversation in the back of that train.
I don't think you've had that full story about like, yeah, we went on, did a whole thing, the whole like one shot. I don't think you've had that conversation with her yet. But there is then a whole nother part where Neravine is completely gone and you don't even know either. That's sort of separate in a way.
Yeah, but it's clear that Sharp was with Neravine for a certain period, and then Neravine disappeared, and that's all Sharp knows. 100%. I'm
that
not
is-
crazy.
That is
Well,
clear to you.
No, that's right.
Yeah, it's clear. It's clear to you. I don't know if Rosalind has been made aware of how much you do or do not know.
No, because she asked me. She's like, where'd she go after? And I was like, I don't know.
Hmm.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So she maybe doesn't know every detail of the one shot,
No.
but knows that you were
Yeah.
you knew
I
the
was
sister
with
at some
Neravine,
point.
because that's
Okay.
when I was talking to Gunoff about him, and then that's when it was talked about where we were with Neravine.
So I mean, but the point is, you wouldn't.
I'm not holding any information from people.
no, and you wouldn't be in
And
trouble.
I don't want people to come at me for
the
fucking holding
comments.
information.
We see all you fans, keyboard
Oh.
warriors.
Yeah. Don't come at me wanting info.
Don't
that
worry,
I've-
you're not Marisha.
Ow.
Okay, we're not gonna come at you. Okay.
Ah! All right. Anyway, go back to your story. Sorry.
Yeah. So you guys are traveling.
Great.
It is a pretty uneventful day.
Is it nice out?
It is nice out.
Great.
It's probably even a bit hot.
Ooh.
Like as far as like, there's very little cloud cover. There's just a lot of sun, that sort of thing.
That kind of sounds not nice. Kind of sounds hot.
It's a little hot, but there's a good breeze.
Oh,
however,
that's nice.
which sort of offsets it. There's a lot of like just floating over the grass, tall and short. So you get a lot of that. Like you get a little bit of sweat, but then it almost feels nice in a way.
Oh,
you
that
know?
is nice.
It's pretty
Okay.
good.